So what to do this summer? This summer is certainly more interesting than past summers. All the original plans that a lot of students had have changed. Some have been canceled, some have been modified. But the challenge now is to not focus on what you might have done, but to focus on what you can do and focus on the future, because there are opportunities. Most importantly is to look for activities that interest the student. Activities that interest the student are usually the activities that the colleges are going to find interesting. Think about the things you want to learn, new areas you want to explore, skills you want to improve. Think about what's viable for you this summer. How much interaction do you want to have with others? And it's not just what the student wants, but it's what's important to the family. So this is a good family discussion. Is travel a possibility? What are the cost limits? What's exposure to COVID-19 as a risk for students and its impact on others in the family? This is a time to learn to develop plans A, B, and C, and to be creative and think outside the box. Flexibility shows grit, which is one of the things colleges are definitely looking for. It's also important to think that what a ninth grader is going to do is not necessarily what an 11th grader is going to do. So typically ninth graders are trying to find out what they like and what they don't like. Are they interested in science labs, or do they like math problems? Do they like creative writing, or do they like marketing? So it's a chance to try different things. It's like going to the mall and trying on a bunch of different clothes and seeing which ones you like and don't like. 10th grade, this is a time that, having done some self-reflection and learning about oneself in 9th grade, to start to think about, well, why am I interested in this? Selling things on eBay or Etsy, is it the creating the product that I enjoy, or is it the developing the business, or is it that I like to have cash in my pocket? So looking at those different things and understanding what you're interested in and how deep that interest goes. 11th graders, this is where you need to focus your efforts. See if you can make an impact, have a sustained effort. And think about how you can make an impact on your community. Lots of times students are surprised that how big of an impact they can make on others. So with that as a high level point, we're going to move into case studies. So we're going to go through each of these areas and talk about how students might make an impact around themselves and the world. So let's start with engineering. So Aaron?
So engineering type students are really trying to develop skills that will help them in the engineering process of college. So those types of schools are always looking for, can you build something? So it's a chance for students to really work on those skills of planning it, designing it, and constructing it. We can also advise them, talk to actual engineers, and get feedback on the process. So we've had kids in the past that have built raised planners or built a boat, or if you're a computer engineer, built an app or software. The point with these is it gives you a chance to work on skills, and even if it doesn't come out as a perfect product, the skills gained of thinking like an engineer really help in the application process and show up in your activities list or maybe in an essay about how you engineer a process. So the skills are really the important part of being an engineer in this system.
We'll move on to political science. I was once a political speechwriter, so I really like political science. Many students who are interested in the political process should get involved. I encourage them to look into who's running for office in their areas, maybe even see who's running for Congress, who's running for Senate, who's running for local office, see if they have a campaign going or talk to people who are involved in the campaign. Informational interviews go a long way. So that could be one way to get involved. Another idea is to start a blog, especially if you're interested in certain political issues, or even if you're interested in history. That could be a way that you could show or demonstrate a passion for the social sciences. And that way you could include a link to your blog in your college application. That would really show a college that you are fascinated by the subject matter and that you're really committed to studying this in college. The UN has also posted this really cool website that we've listed now on our slide for you to apply to volunteer with them, which sounds really scary, but hopefully it's not that scary. And the UN is offering opportunities for you to translate things if you speak French or Japanese or Spanish, to translate books or things like that for students across the world. They're also offering students the opportunity to create infographics for reports they've done. Some really interesting things. So if you're interested in volunteering with the UN, that's another opportunity. Words. If you like words like I do and you like to write, this is another one that many students will say, if I like to write, what should I do to demonstrate my passion? My first advice is to start a journal. It's not Dear Diary style, but I think if you have a place to start jotting down your ideas of what you'd like to write about, I think that's a good place to start. Many of my students have already started writing their own books. I think that's a great idea. You can always self-publish through Amazon. That's an option. There are writing competitions and writing workshops throughout the nation. You can look those up. That's another way to demonstrate to colleges that you're serious about the written word. There's a program called Bookshare. Bookshare is a program that students can read books aloud and record it for students with learning differences. That would be a great way to show colleges that you're serious about the written word and that you want to share it with all kinds of students. The last opportunities that we've found for you come from the Smithsonian, and the Smithsonian have offered you opportunities to transcribe for them. They have lots of different projects they need transcriptions done for, and they also have Wikipedia pages that they need updating, and many students know how to use Wikipedia better than I do, so this could be a great way to show that they're good writers on Wikipedia.
In STEM, we have a lot of students that are interested in STEM. So there's historically been the opportunity to do research, and not everybody can do a research in a lab given the coronavirus, but there are virtual internships that are still available, virtual research opportunities. We've listed 2 here. One thing to think of when you're looking at internships or research is to look at universities and colleges, but also to look at businesses. So we've had students who have helped a startup and worked with designing medical devices virtually. We've had students who have worked with tutoring students in STEM, students who have worked on research projects, collecting data and running analysis for those and doing those things virtually. You can also volunteer. Zoo Universe is an online animal research opportunity. There's also environmental volunteer opportunities. And there's also a ton of online courses, some of which are free, some of which you have to pay for, such as edX or Coursera. So there's a lot of different opportunities in the STEM space to move forward.
For the art student out there, there's opportunities to think about social media for profits or nonprofits. They may need a logo design, they may need an infographic design, and using software to help create those artistic digital media platforms might help them. We've seen some great examples come out of Zoom and Skype performances. You know, they're littered with YouTube of those. And it doesn't mean they have to get 1 million views on YouTube or 1 million customers. Even just doing it for family members or a local community center is a great way to at least have them practice and be used to performing in front of others. If it's a different type of art, of photography, if you haven't heard about this front porch project, they're taking a lot of photos of people on their front porch and donating the proceeds to nonprofits. I had that done with my family recently. It was a great opportunity to stand about 10 feet away from the photographer. High school student came by, took a photo. They posted on social media. They're making a town collection, so it's been really cool. And yearbooks, you know, at the end of the high school year, you're not getting a paper yearbook to like sign with your friends. So some schools are creating video yearbooks. So they need that video production person to create a 15-minute video for graduation, or to create a thank you to the graduating seniors, whatever it could be. They're looking for video people to help create that. And if you are an art student applying to art school, summer's a great time to work on your portfolio. So the art schools require various production pieces, and you need to provide those for the application. Great time to work on those, and also to find reviewers. So find somebody that's in industrial design or in art that can look at those and give you feedback. And that way you're not just submitting it for a first time, but you're getting feedback on how those fit into what art colleges are specifically looking for.
So a lot of students are also interested in business. So business comes in a lot of flavors. So it's great to do informational interviews, to learn about different industries, both for-profit firms as well as nonprofit firms. It's also a great opportunity to delve into different aspects of business, be it finance, logistics, which has come under a lot of scrutiny in the last couple months, marketing, human resources. These people are working from home today. Many of them are more than happy to do an informational interview with you and help you understand what's going on in these fields and where these fields are going on in the future, because where they're going in the future is the part that should be exciting to you. Sometimes these informational interviews will lead to internships or a chance to shadow the person in their work environment. There's also online business courses. University of Pennsylvania has some business courses. A number of schools have online business courses for you to take, or business competitions, such as the stock market game, where you get a set of fake money to invest in stocks, and at the end of a set period, you find out who did the best job. So this is a great opportunity to talk to people, leverage your friends, leverage your relatives, look on LinkedIn to find people to talk with and learn what is business today and where is it going in the future.
And a final category for the type of student that is interested in teaching, social work, connecting with their local community. There's a great need right now for volunteers. And so a lot of people sometimes look at their application and are looking for chances, not just to do volunteer hours, but to really make a difference in their community. We give you a few examples of websites that are making connections. There are countless other nonprofits out there that are looking for help, either remotely, or they help connect people, or they're looking for ways of helping people that have time, the people that need time. And we create a kind of a list at the bottom here of some things that are happening in local communities. You know, we've seen the local shopper, every park, natural space. This is great for the person who didn't join Boy Scouts or wanted to do those type of things of cleaning up a trail or building a trail. That's things that are available all summer when the weather gets really nice. For the teacher, there's tutoring. So sometimes it can be any subject. We've mentioned science before, but it can really be in any subject. And we've heard of a lot of needs coming from foster schools or foster students, or students who normally get services outside of the home that can't get it at home, and they're looking for extra help there. Animal shelters are looking for collection of items. And then seniors, again, are homebound. And so providing chances to connect with them locally is a great way to make a connection. So all of these are ways of getting your brain thinking about how I can get involved in our community. And it's not about checking the box. Again, it's about having experience that helps a student learn a bit more about what their interests are and what they're connecting with their local community.
So how can parents help? Most importantly is take an interest in your child and what they find interesting, what they're curious about, what skills they want to develop, and be open to their ideas. Some of their ideas may sound crazy, but sometimes those crazy ideas turn into real opportunities the more you think about it. Be enthusiastic about it. Students, like most people, can be very sensitive, especially after 2 months of spending 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with parents. So be supportive of them and allow students to try things on, to experiment, to evolve. Understand that sometimes things fail. Lots of people fail. Everybody learns from that failure. So that's a great opportunity for students to see what they're interested in and have multiple plans. So in case one plan falls through, they have a backup plan. Help them make connections. Reach out to your relatives, your friends, the people you work with to see if they can open some doors for your child. They're not going to force the door open and make everything happen, but they'll make the introduction. You have to coach your student on how to communicate with those adults. Most people have trouble with this. So your child, it's going to take them some time to learn how to communicate and ask for help and do that informational interview. But the first time they do it, it'll be difficult. The second time will be easier, and so on and so forth. And recognize that the best outcome for you as a parent may not be the best outcome for your child. So focus on your child and what they need. So with that, I'm going to open this up to questions. Let's see. So we don't have a question, but we have a comment from one parent about their child that just presented their project, which was an application to find community services for high school students that need it, and how that was just presented this morning. So one question here is, well, what about real jobs? I would say every summer, this is a real challenge for teenagers to find jobs. Yeah. Some jobs require you to be over 16, some require you to be 18. So it's important to understand that up front. There are websites like Indeed to look for internships and jobs, but I think the best job opportunities are by talking to local business owners.
Go ahead, Erin.
One of the philosophies at Babson was that don't apply to a job, but make a job. And I think that philosophy holds well for high school students sometimes, where I have an interest in something. Maybe there isn't a company that you can do it for, but you can start that yourselves. I mean, there's always a great examples of the landscaping business, but even the engineer, he could build something for people. He can help with small construction projects. Sometimes doing your own business and making cash instead of, getting a paycheck is a great way for a student to learn, here's how I start a business, and a good old lemonade stand might be the next thing. Who knows?
It's a great point. The other thing I was going to add is for students not to get discouraged. During this economy, a lot of folks have lost their jobs. And so some of the jobs that students may have gotten last summer may not be as available, or they may be in higher contention than they were, say, this time last year or the year before that. So I think Erin's idea of making a job rings even more true this summer, more so than ever.
So one of the questions is, how can kids approach business people, possible employers? Should they use email, call, or LinkedIn? And all of those things work. The thing that I think works best is where somebody can make an introduction and say, I'd like you to meet Charlie. They're a great student in math. They're interested in learning more about analytics. Can they spend 20 or 30 minutes with you and learn about what you do in data analytics? and start about learning about what they do and how they do it and how they got where they are. And then ask, how can you develop those skills? That will help that person create the job for you and see that you have the interest to do the job. And some of those jobs can be done virtually. Not everything has to be done in the office. We had a student last year who did data analytics for a person running local, for a local political position. And all of that was done virtually. They met with the person twice in person. And frankly, they could have just as easily done that in a Zoom meeting. So another question here is, what about online courses such as Coursera or WebEx? Margaret, Aaron, comments?
I can take it. Sure. We highly recommend Coursera and edX. I think it's a way of demonstrating curiosity, especially about a subject matter that you may not have access to in your high school. And it's another way to deepen an interest, especially if you have an engineering interest or a music production interest or something like that, that may be a little more specific. Aaron, did you want to add to that? You're good. We like it. We recommend it.
And I think it's important to note that what subject matter it is not necessarily as important as just showing curiosity. You know, Margaret touched on that, but you know, if you take a home economics course because you wanted to learn more about how to balance your finances in college, fine. Like, we're going to use a cliche that colleges don't want to see you playing video games all summer. And so the alternatives are, these are the options that are available.
Yeah, so look for things you would find interesting, things you would enjoy. So we've had students who have done courses in business, for example, where they built a business plan and then competed against other students with their business plan. Some cases, they actually got funding for their business. And one thing with an online course is, if it's being offered by a college, is it for real college credit? Would that college accept those credits for their freshman or sophomore students coming in for real courses? Sometimes you'll see high school programs that frankly are nothing more than camp. And those are great programs if you're going to learn from it, but they're not the same level of rigor that you're going to find in a college course. Any other questions? So thank you all for coming. This will be posted later on our website next week, complete with the slides. So in the following week, we will talk about essays, because that's the big challenge every student has, is to write that college essay this summer. With that, thank you very much. We all appreciate you coming. Bye.